ESPN 8, el 8, con lo mejor de los deportes menos vistos en todo el mundo desde 1999. Si es casi un deporte, aquí lo tenemos. Hola y bienvenidos.
Hello and welcome back to ESPN 8, The Ocho. My name is Kyle McKnight and here is Pepper Brooks. Today we will continue our coverage of the ME 2110 Big Project. It's been a long road and the teams have finally made it. For those of you who are just tuning in, let me explain how all of this has worked. Each team had to create an autonomous machine that was supposed to complete 5 specific tasks.
That's right, Cotton. They would lift the door, collect the One Ring in Arkenstone, save Thorin, defeat Smog with a black arrow, and avoid his Dragonfire in the process. 4 machines will compete once and will each run for 30 seconds.
Now we've been following one specific team, Team Foehammer. Now take a look at all the work they've done in putting together this machine.
It all started with an objectives tree, which grew into a house of quality, giving the team their 2 most important requirements, that the device be both compact and reliable. From this came the engineering requirements and ultimately the function tree, then the spec sheet to add constraints to these functions, and finally the morph chart in which all of these functions took form as possible design ideas. Next, these functions were brought to life in the form of what would end up as several design alternatives: the net extender, the scooper, and the claw launcher. The net extender operates by allowing one part to perform several functions. The gate is opened using a pulley weight system, where the lever arms brace the gate open from underneath. The net, mounted on a circular ring attached to a rod, tosses the black arrow into Smog's weak spot and collects Thorin in one motion. Once Thorin is swept into the cradle, the net is free again to collect the Arkenstone in one ring. Throughout the runtime, a digital display is used to display the activity of the mechanism as the tasks are completed. The scooper also uses a pulley weight system to lift the gate, and 2 horizontal arms are used to brace the gate. The design uses a slide to drop items, a scooping cradle to collect and hold items, and a sweeping arm to move items. The device senses the environment using an IR sensor and displays activity using the LED lights on the MyRio. It also removes dice using a slanted shield. The third alternative, the claw launcher, uses actuators to lift the lever arms on either side of the design, which in turn lift the gate. Items are moved, held, and collected by a retractable claw that operates by extending outward on a set of drawer sliders. The function of dropping items is performed by a mousetrap, which is used specifically to shoot the black arrow into Smog's weak spot. The claw launcher senses the surrounding environment using an IR sensor and displays activity using sound projected from a speaker. And then the beater was forged. Out of all of the designs, this was the chosen one. It operates through the use of 2 subsystems, dubbed the gate opener and the little engine that should. The gate opener is used to open the gate and to knock the Arkenstone in one ring into the team zone. It does this by using weighted lever arms that swing under the gate and hold it up when the weight is dropped. Drawer sliders then extend outward to the middle of the track to catch the ring and stone, sending them into the team zone. The little engine that should actually moves all by itself using a motor onto the track, then senses and grabs Thorin using an IR sensor and a holder connected to a 2-bar linkage. Once Thorin is safe, a scissor lift carries the arrow from the car to Smog's weak spot and delivers it into the pipe, narrowly but safely avoiding his deadly, fire-provoking gaze. The little engine then escapes back up the ramp safely with Thorin in tow. The LED lights on the MyRio, which sits in the belly of the car, indicate all the while that the machine is ready to fire.
What an inspiring story. Best of luck to Team Foehammer in the competition this evening. I'm just getting word that we got one of the team members with a correspondent live now at the Mark Pavilion. Let's see what they have to say. So tell us, how you chose this final design?
So we used a level 2 evaluation matrix and basically just compared it to all the other alternatives to see how well it fulfilled each customer requirement, and the results were undeniable. I mean, the beater scored a 4 out of 5 in 11 of the possible categories and had a relative total of 0.80, where the other designs only scored 0.73, 0.68, and 0.48. So it was pretty obvious which we had to pick.
Fascinating. Now tell us how early stages of testing went for you guys.
So the initial stages of testing with just the gate lifter, we had about a 0% success rate. But as we made further improvements, we moved up to a 40% and 85% success rate after the qualifying round, so it's pretty good. We've also got a 90% success rate in grabbing Thorin and an 80% success rate in getting the arrow into the weak spot. But we're running into a little trouble in getting the bot back up the ramp into the starting zone, and that has only succeeded about 40% of the time. So these functions that I've described in testing are where we feel most of our points are going to come from, so we're hoping that the functions that were a little more unreliable will work in our favor today.
All right, sounds good. Well, good luck out there.
Yeah, thanks so much. We're excited.
Well, that was a bit anticlimactic, yeah? Yeah, but they do have one more round to prove themselves, so let's go back to the floor. Well, I don't know what just happened. The gate didn't lift, so do you think they changed something beforehand?
I don't know. Let's find out.
So, we didn't change too much from our last time testing, so we're pretty disappointed. We added rubber to the bottom of the gate lifter, hoping that the traction would keep the frame from getting kicked too far back to catch the gate when the actuator pushed out the kickstand. But turns out it didn't help as much as we thought, and that's exactly what happened. So, irony is that the motors for the car and the scissor lift still ran as they were supposed to. So if the gate had lifted as we expected, we may have still been able to get those points.
Sounds like you were right on the verge of victory. I'm sorry about that. So what about the first run?
On that first run, I'm a bit confused as well. The LED indicators we had on the MyRio show that the machine was running correctly prior to the track starting, but when the track started, the lights were still running, indicating that no signal was received. We ended up finding that it was a problem with the ends of our banana plugs, so we tightened those for the next round, and it fixed it.
I see. Now, is there anything you would have done differently?
Yeah, I think our main mistake was moving on too quickly before functions were complete. We got into the habit of testing other functions under the assumption that the gate would be successfully lifted, but we failed to make sure that the gate would be lifted perfectly every time. And I think if we could do it over, we would have perfected that function and then moved on to capturing Thorin and then so on and so forth.
Great. Well, thanks for your time, and better luck next time.
Thanks.
Alright, well, it looks like they have a lot of room for improvement, specifically full system testing rather than focusing on individual functions like grabbing Thorin, putting it all together, timing it, getting all those numbers down. But the plus side is they met all their customer requirements, followed all the regulations. They didn't DQ, which was a very important thing that they improved on. Basically, the only problem was testing, which I'm sure they learned that, and as you know, the team recognized that, and I think they'll be working on that in the future.
That's right, Cotton. Did I ever tell you I never liked cotton? I like spandex.
Well, there you have it, folks. That's the end of an era. Best of luck next semester's 2110 sections. And if you have any questions for Team Fohammer, please visit www.theocho.com/2110 right here. I'm Con McKnight, and here's Pepper Brooks, and we're signing off for tonight.